Hey everyone, Bit here. So we're on the Mac again. This time we're in the office, which is why I have the blue cityscape behind me so you don't see the rest of the office. Um, Today we're going to be looking at a piece of software that lets you set up spreadsheets and forms without the need for Google or whoever, and no, not even any reliance on cloud services. Also, I apologize, I only have one screen right now, so you may see me switching back and forth between a browser or another app and OBS. Mostly because my phone is hanging on top of the monitor as the camera with the macOS continuity camera system. So it's open source software called Teable. Now I have a bunch of spaces, and like this one is games. I call it Game Central, where I catalog all of my badges from Splatoon, and I just put lines for a few games here. Splatoon map peaks, and just a list of people for some reason. Video game items, which I just cataloged all of my legend and weapon skins from Apex, characters from Genshin Impact. Although I did have to like re-import stuff one time, which is why all of these colors are messed up. So like you can so there's like single select pages. So like I can make pyro red, blue, green, purple. Should Hydro be the lighter blue? Or we'll make Hydro a darker blue. Geo should be an orange. Animo is like that, a jade green. Let's save. So now you can see that they're actually color coded on their elements. And for these, I think I just had them set to be all one color, just this white. So there's like very many data types you can put here. Most of the time I'm using like single select and multi-select and text fields. I did make some like actual forms and polls recently. For this one, Bits ratings, I gotta rate that one and post it to Twitter later. But for this one, I added a file upload because there was this trend going around on Twitter where your Splatoon character would like rate other people's Splatoon characters. I wonder if other fandoms did that with their OCs. So I've had a file upload so that people could add an image. And you can also add rating and even change the symbol for the rating. So you can choose yellow, red, or green, and you can have it be stars, moons, suns, lightning, fires, hearts, apples, or thumb ups. So I added hearts for this, since people were using heart emojis to do this on, like, just in a tweet. And here's where you can add a form. You can add a banner, an icon, a title, a description, and then the fields are just the fields are just the columns of your spreadsheet. So there's like no need to set up a Google sheet that links to a Google form. You just have a spreadsheet that links directly with your form. And then you can share the spreadsheet if you want to share the results, and share the form so that people can add to it. Now, the people that make this do have a cloud-hosted version. I think their website is teable.io. And you can go to Start Now and create an account. And they have options to sign in with GitHub or Google on their cloud-hosted version. But I'm self-hosting. As you can see, that says teable.littlebitstudios.com. So that's actually running on the main server in the network rack. We don't actually have a rack. It's just a lamp with shelves, and we have a Intel NUC running Ubuntu Linux server. But I'm going to show you how to set it up yourself with self-hosting. Find the parts. So switch the camera. Now I do have this thing enabled. I turned on this thing called Desk View, which doesn't really look at my desk. You can just see like myself and my hands and part of the keyboard tray. But we have, this is my Raspberry Pi 5 in the nice Pi official, in the nice raspberry and white Pi official case. And then we just have this SanDisk Ultra 32 gigabyte USB. Normally for a Raspberry Pi, you'd be using a micro SD card. Like this is just some SanDisk. Ooh. It's just some SanDisk card. Just SanDisk Ultra Plus 128 gig Class 10A1. I was using this. That holds an Ubuntu desktop installation, but I want to show you how to do Pi OSs from scratch. Now, I don't know everything about configuring a copy of Raspberry Pi OS. So the first thing I have to get is this USB-C and C to A adapter, because my MacBook Air M2 doesn't have USB-A ports, so I'm going to turn the desk view off. I will go back to the desktop and back to Chrome. I'll plug the USB in. I'm going to try to do this setup all over SSH, so you want to be familiar with the terminal. And that is the wrong scene, because you cannot see me. So the first thing you have to do is go to, I think it's raspberrypi.com, not .org. Yes. The Pi Foundation is raspberrypi.org. But anyway, you go to software, scroll down to the download for Pi Imager. You can download it for Windows, Mac, or Linux. And also, if your Pi was awake, you could also just image it from the GUI running on your Raspberry Pi. But we'll image it with the Mac. And I already have Pi Imager installed. So we'll just go to the Launchpad and find it. I think I put it under Developer Tools. Yes. I also have Balena Etcher under there, but like I could have cloned the, because I do have this SanDisk Ultra USB-C flip. But since this one is a USB-C flip drive, even though it's 128 gigs, I'd rather save that for using it with my iPhone. Since I just got the new this is actually the first video I've done with the new iPhone. It's cool. I can do, with the continuity camera, you can do these backgrounds. You can't do these backgrounds if I was just recording with the usual iOS camera. And you couldn't do this desk view thing, because it's designed for being your webcam. Honestly, I wish Apple would integrate the continuity camera drivers into the iCloud Windows software, but that's going off topic. So we click Raspberry Pi device. We're going to use a Pi 5, and we're going to get, let's see, other general purpose. Okay, so we got Ubuntu. Actually, we'll do Ubuntu. So other general purpose, Ubuntu, server 24041. And then USB SanDisk 3.2 Gen 1. Next. Would you like to apply OS customization settings? Yes. So, yeah, I'm going to switch to a different scene for a minute, just the camera, while I put in some information. Yeah, it was showing the text of the password. I could see like it showing the letter after the dot. So yeah, I can't show this. Wait, why? Why does this thing not... Oh, it says show password. Whatever. I don't know why that was ticked by default. I guess because people... I guess because people kept fat fingering their Wi-Fi password. Wireless LAN country should be... it's all the way at the bottom. US. Set locale settings. America, Chicago. Keyboard layout, US. Source. Set host name Raspberry Pi not local. Change that to littlebit pi5-2.local. Since the image on this SD card is littlebit pi5, I'm just remaking this image so that I can show you how imaging of Raspberry Pi is done. Then under services, enable SSH. So for some reason you can use password or public key only, but there's no option for dual authentication. So we're going to say use password authentication. And we'll just run SSH copy ID because this is a Mac, so I don't have to worry about doing anything special. Or whatever. Save. Apply them. Yes. So this can take a while, and you may be prompted for your password by prompted for your password by macOS. Luckily, I don't have to switch the scenes again because macOS actually thinks to hide the password. And I left a DMG mounted on my desktop. I was trying to do some stuff for like EU enabler for iOS, but I've been patched. If anyone's questioning what EU enabler is, it's basically allows you to do that app marketplace thing outside the EU. If you want to know why that's important, just ask me in the comments. I don't really want to veer too much off topic. So I'm probably going to pause the footage while I wait for this. Jump cut. And we're back. You may notice that now there is no background. I figured out how to key the background out so you can see the desktop behind me. Customizing OS. It has been written. It says SD card, but SD cards peers USB devices. So we're going to unplug this. And then and that got hot. And now I will plug the Pi in with this USB-C cable. Gotta plug in the USB with the operating system. You see that the light is green. Now this may not work. I don't know if it's like fully booted yet. Okay, so for some reason that USB drive wasn't booting in the Pi, so it may be that my Pi 5 just isn't set up to boot from USB. So we've just got a terminal with the usual SD card. Now, I already have Docker on here, I believe. Yeah, I do have Docker. Because you will need Docker or Podman or some other container host for this to work. Specifically one that supports Docker Compose files. Now I do have a Teable instance in here, so we're just going to say rm-r Teable, because it's just an instance that I was making for testing back when I messed up Teable on the main server. So I would recommend that you make a file in your home called, a folder in your home called Docker. And also, I would recommend that you have Visual Studio Code. I recommend you have Visual Studio Code installed on your machine. So we're just going to say exit twice to get out of that, and then we'll quit iTerm because I don't need it. And so you'll want to have Visual Studio Code and the SSH, the SSH plugin. So click the little arrows icon down here, the remote icon, and then connect current window. And for me, I'll just type in jheron at little bit pi 5. And we'll want to say open folder, and then in here you should find Docker, which is going to be an empty folder. Yes, I trust the authors. And we're going to create a folder called Teable. And also I'm going to open the terminal within VS Code just to make sure. Let's remove all these volumes. And we'll pull a folder back out and clear the terminal. So at this point, you'll want to go to the GitHub page, github.com/teable.io/teable, and then go down to Dockers, then examples. They do give you ones for Docker Swarm clusters and Kubernetes, but we're just using standalone. So you want to first get this docker compose.yaml and click the copy button here. Then create a new file in the Teable folder called compose.yml, and paste that in there. Okay. It was because there was a weird space at the top. I was wondering why everything suddenly turned into an error. It was probably because there's some sort of YAML linting in the in VS Code. They do syntax highlight YAML. So you have all of this. You can edit these ports if you need to, but then you will need the env file, and then copy this and paste it in here as, just put it as .env, just put it as .env, and then paste that in there. Time zone UTC, I don't know if you can change that, so we'll just leave it. And then Teable DB 5432, Postgres DB example. You can leave it example if you want. I have it set to example still because that's just like the name of the database. Well, then we'll just call it, Teable. We'll just change that to Teable for this example, and then we'll change the user to Teable and the password to password. Because this isn't going to be live on the internet. This is just going to be normal. It's going to be in the local network, so it doesn't matter if that password is password. Just if you're doing this, like, use a random password because it's going to be in this file, and make sure that you don't show this file to anyone you don't trust if you don't want them toying with the back end of Teable using Postgres SQL management software. I personally use, let's see, is it in developer tools? I personally use pgadmin 4. Then here, just say 127.1.3000, and it will public database proxy. Just leave that, or maybe say public origin little bit 55 local port 3000, and then a little bit 55 local 4345, because it opens the Postgres port, which is usually 5432, to the outside world. I guess they do that just in case you're already running a Postgres database somewhere else on your server. And you can also, if you have like your own email or something, or you can add email, like make a Gmail account for it or something, you can add email information here, but I won't add email information. I did add email for my production setup. Technically, they say that you shouldn't use it in production since it's a beta, but like all the way down here, I think it's on their website, home. If you go all the way to the bottom of their website, it says currently Teable's in technical preview phase with frequent iterations. The API is not yet stable. Please avoid using Teable in a production environment. But I use it in production because, well, I'm a nerd, and nerds can use betas all they want. I just find that it's already quite stable, at least for the GUI. They say the API is not stable, but I had a good time with their API, even if it is complicated. So now that you've set up your env file and your compose.yaml file, and you can change these to like restart all. I guess they say restart always. You could change that to restart unless stopped, but you would be stopping it by saying compose down, which just deletes the containers, but not the volumes. And you can also say it where the volumes are. You can use like a host. You can use like a host directory. But we'll just stick with the usual Docker volumes now. And you can back those up if you need to. Just make sure you back up your compose.yaml file and your env file as well. And then once you've set up both of these files, right-click and say compose. Go back. Just say compose up. You should see a bunch of things that say created. It says volume, container. You should see one that says started, then healthy, and then started. exited, started, and then that's Teable started. So now I can just go to little bit pi5 or whatever your host name. .local 3000. Now it's going to say not secure, and obviously, and for some features like being able to copy to the clipboard, for some reason Chrome won't let a website copy something to your clipboard if it's if it's not HTTPS. So for me, with my production instance on the main server, I have it behind Nginx reverse proxy with some Let's Encrypt. Actually, I don't want to use my real email here, so I'll just use my domain email. Little bit at littlebitstudios.com. It's just luckily I have a domain where I can set up domain emails, so I don't always change that to sign up. Luckily it doesn't clear everything if you change that. And click sign up, and it automatically gives you a basic space, and you can click rename. You just change it a little bit space. Then you could click create a base from scratch. Seems like some stuff has changed. Because you can see in here, you've got a trash can, you've got shared bases. I wonder if something's gone wrong. Wait a minute. So we're going to leave this. Actually, we'll close the tab. How long has this video been going for? 30 minutes. This is what happens when I do stuff on the fly. It always ends up being long and drawn out. What am I looking for? As in the Docker panel. You probably want to, since you're dealing with Docker, you may want to install the Docker extension for VS Code, because I can go in here and right click it and say pull. And then this one, pull. It's just, for some reason, if I use, on the main server, when I used Watchtower to update stuff, things didn't update properly, so just make sure that you use something like VS Code to go in there and pull the images manually. For some reason, they fixed the version number for PostgreSQL. It's fixed at 15.4. I guess they fixed the version number just in case there's any breaking changes to PostgreSQL, although SQL as a database has never, although SQL itself has never really changed even since these open source forks like PostgreSQL and MySQL have been made. Because used to, SQL was a Microsoft thing. Also, I apologize if the audio from the earpods mic is not that good. Ugh. Are you gonna finish? Alright. So now we can go to compose.yaml, say compose up. Also say, and then just say docker image prune, docker image prune y. And yeah, so I just yeeted all of the images that weren't needed. And you can go over here and click prune and click this button to prune images. So the Visual VS Code lets you do it in the GUI. And for some reason they have this option that lets you remove all stopped containers, which is a bit of a nuclear option, but it exists. Because, like, for example, up here, there's a stopped container. Probably if I press that button, it would be deleted, and then Teable would break. Anyway, let's head back to the browser. And so now you see the shared bases button and the trash can. So you have a space and a base, and you can make a table. And by default, it starts off with like label, number, status, to do, in progress, done. And you can even do something very similar to what Trello does. You can choose this option called Kanban, and you'll see this like stacks of cards that you can like drag them between stacks and stuff. Like if I go back, let's head back to the production instance. So yeah, that's how you do it, and you can. Sadly, you can't. It's not like Mastodon. You cannot share it unless someone makes an account on your instance. You can't share a space or base with someone. You can't share something on your instance with someone running on another instance or on Teable's cloud instance. So while Teable seems to be made around the idea of self-hosting, it's not federated like Mastodon or Matrix. So like this instance and this one are completely separate from each other. It'd be nice if at some point Teable introduced some sort of federation, but that's probably just not the biggest part of their agenda. Their agenda is just to make a very good GUI database software. So like if I wanted to, where is it? Video game items. So I can go to this, because used to I did have Kanbans for this, but if I say add a Kanban, I'd say element, and then rename it to cards by element, and then customize cards, and turn off element. So for somehow I only have 3 pyros. I probably need to go look at Genshin sometime and update this list, because I've gotten other characters since. Like, what do I do? And yeah, for some reason in Genshin, you can only have characters of legendary or epic rarity. Either 4 or 5. Epic is 4 stars, legendary is 5 stars. Sometimes I've called the limited 5 stars, like the ones that you have to get them on their banner, I've called them, I forgot, mythic, because I believe Hu Tao is a mythic. She has her own banner. But anyway, that's a video about how to set up Teable, a self-hosted GUI database system. And actually, before I end the video, let's show you how to make a form. So you've already made your space and your base. So we're going to remove this table. So we're going to make a blank table, and then we'll remove these two fields. So let's say we have a name. Put your name here. And you say name, and maybe you say email. Say name, email. Then let's say rate this. We'll say it's from 1 to 10. We'll say it's from 1 to 10. Hit save, and then explain this. Long text, save. Then for the name, actually for the email, we add enable unique value validation. And then we take all three of them and delete them. And then click plus, add a form view, and say example writing form, and then add all. And they'll say that the name and rating are required, but no email or explanation is required, and I won't worry about creating icons for an example. And then you click share and turn on sharing, and you share this link. Now, you would have to have it on on a cloud system, or you have to have your own domain and pass through your internet. I use a reverse proxy for that. But anyway, you go to make an incognito window. That's just the contents of the env file. I forgot you can't use the copy button. You can have it show up a QR code though. You can have it show a QR code though. Anyway, if I click this URL and then paste it here, and I know, let's just say someone and someone at nothing.com. Actually, nothing.com might lead to an actual website, so I'll just say example.com and say rate this 5. It's mid. And then if I go back to the database, you can see email someone to example. If you click this, then your Apple Mail comes. My email. I have to bring this into Kdenlive and put a black box on that. Don't save. But yeah, that's Teable, an open source, self-hostable database system. This has been Bit, and I'll see you next time.